Alright guys, before we start off with amplified Q&A on this Thursday afternoon by the time you guys watch this, it's Thursday morning, but right after we're done filming this, I literally have to take off as per usual. I'm running a little late, so I might not get this video out until later today, so this afternoon on Thursday or even this evening. But before I start off on actual Q&A questions that you guys sent to me on Twitter at BC Amplified and on my YouTube channel right here in past videos, before I get to those questions, I want to answer the question that I know all of you guys are going to be asking me over the next 24 hours. My thoughts on EC3 in his real official NXT debut last night, right? We've seen him a little bit before on NXT, but last night was his big groundbreaking appearance, really. How do I say this nicely? I don't give a fuck about EC3. When it comes to how many fucks I give about EC3, it's zero. EC3, I don't care about. I never did in TNA, I don't now in NXT, and I won't over on the main roster, because EC3 is mediocre talent. Why can we not have mediocre talent anymore, guys? Why does everybody have to be a superstar? I mean, a lot of you guys, man, you love Ty Dillinger, 10-10, and I told you guys, as much as it's hard to watch what they're doing to Ty Dillinger, I mean, this guy has zero breaks, and maybe Vince McMahon does see that he's mediocre, but even if he's mediocre, you called him up to the main roster, Dillinger should get some kind of storyline going, some kind of momentum, right? But whether he does or not, I told you guys from the beginning, Ty Dillinger is mediocre talent. Without the 10-10-10, he's mediocre, and there's nothing wrong with that. That really displeases a lot of people. It really upsets a lot of people. No, he's awesome. EC3 is mediocre. No, he's awesome, BC. He's amazing. No, it's okay to be mediocre talent. You can have other things going for you. That's great. You still get a deal with NXT and a deal on the main roster, maybe a lot of superstars. But it's okay to be mediocre. Not everybody can just be a superstar. Not everybody can take over a show. Not everybody can come over to NXT, get the main events, get the championships, go over to the main roster and hope for the best. Not everybody can do that. Bobby Roode, for instance, he's mediocre talent. And you guys know I like Bobby Roode, but I'll be the first to admit he's mediocre. Without that glorious theme song, I don't know if he was going to be in the main event of NXT or a US champion. Bobby Roode's mediocre. He was fucking beer money in TNA. That was mediocre. James Storm, mediocre. Bobby Roode, mediocre. EC3 is mediocre. They just are, and it's okay. What do you guys want these guys to do when they go to the main roster? What ends up happening is you think everybody's a superstar. And when they go to the main roster, then what? It's already overcrowded over there. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Dean Ambrose will come back, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura. I can go on and on. I can go on and on. Any one of those can be superstar heavyweight champions. And instead, a lot of them, because it's so overcrowded, a lot of them are trying to fight for secondary titles, like the IC and the US championships. Randy Orton has to settle for the U.S. Championship. A few years ago, he's going for World Heavyweight Championships. Overcrowded. What's going to happen when the Velveteen Dream and Johnny Wrestling and Aleister Black all make it over there? Then what? It just becomes more crowded. And now EC3. BC, are you excited? It's EC3. No, EC, go away. How's that? I don't give a fuck about EC3. The only thing good about EC3 being out of TNA, GFW, Anthem Sports, Wrestling, whatever it wants to call itself, the only good thing is that we don't have to hear Josh Matthews saying, EC3, EC3, EC3. How about Josh Matthews? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You dumb, dipshitted, demented moron. Unreal, man. Josh Matthews deserves a smack upside the... And I BS for Josh Matthews just for being Josh Matthews. I used to hate the way he would say EC3 over and over, like Jim Ross calling Stone Cold. That was epic. Josh Matthews saying, EC3, EC3, in his stupid voice, because he's a stupid person. Dumb fuck. So EC3, no, I'm not excited. Let's concentrate on the stars we have. Triple H is bringing in all this talent. That's great. Where's it going? My question for you guys on Amplified Q&A. I have a question for all of you. Where are they going? Where's the Velveteen Dream going when he's done with NXT? Where is Aleister Black going? Where is Omos going? Where is EC3 gonna go if you guys think he's so fucking great? Because then what's happening with all the talent over on Raw and SmackDown? What's happening with Rollins? He's not going anywhere anytime soon. What's going on with Dean Ambrose? Not going anywhere anytime soon. Roman Reigns, Shinsuke, AJ, Daniel Bryan. Because then you still have all the mid-carders that could also be heavyweight champions, right? And the fucking Randy Ortons, even Dolph Ziggler, if booked correctly. And then you still have Bobby Roode. Mediocre or not, Bobby Roode is in title pictures. But it's okay to be mediocre, guys. When you talk about great wrestlers, you're thinking AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. And even throw strong style Shinsuke in there. And when you think larger than life and badass brutes, you're thinking Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. Finessed wrestlers like Randy Orton. But Bobby Roode wouldn't really fit in any of those categories. But he has other things. He had enough other things to come together and create a package. But you see the fan responses to him, it's still 50-50, like, we don't really know. He's supposed to be a face, but people aren't really gravitating. I think Bobby Roode's best chance going forward is to be a heel, but it doesn't look like they're pulling the trigger on that. But it's okay to be mediocre. I'm telling you guys the truth, man. From what I see of EC3, the guy is mediocre. Yes, I've seen hundreds of EC3 matches. Nothing stands out like this guy is an epic champion to be in WWE. Nothing that's going to put EC3 over AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan or Shinsuke or even Randy Orton. Tail end of his career or not. EC, fuck off. Now, we start Amplified Q&A. I'll get to your guys' questions. First, I want to head over to Twitter, and we have Antonio. Do you think WWE will allow Daniel Bryan to become the face of SmackDown? They could have Nakamura win the championship at WrestleMania, have AJ go to Raw, leaving Daniel Bryan to compete with Nakamura for the face of SmackDown. Thoughts? Well, I'll give you my thoughts, Antonio. What happens over on Raw then? So you on SmackDown, you have Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke as your two top stars, okay? But now on Raw, you have Vince's baby boy Roman. You still have Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. You have a returning Samoa Joe at some point, right? Coming soon. Dean Ambrose. And now you have AJ Styles over there. So now you still have an overcrowded company. An overcrowded brand in the company. And over on SmackDown, you're going to get some of those NXT call-ups that I was just mentioning. You're going to get them. So you're still going to have I like the scenario, but no matter what, you're going to have competition. No matter what, Daniel Bryan is going to have a hard time showing Vince McMahon that he is the true face, even though he is. We all know that. And Vince can keep trying to deny it through his booking and through his storylines, but we're still going to come through just like we did around WrestleMania 30. We're still going to tell Vince vocally, we're going to voice our displeasure and show Vince exactly who is the face. So no matter where Daniel Bryan is, he's going to get that type of response because Daniel Bryan is just captivating. But I like your scenario. But then what does that do for AJ Styles? Now AJ Styles is over on an overcrowded Raw. But no matter what, this should end up being Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles Dream Match Part 2. We're getting Nakamura and Styles this year at 34. At 35, right here at home, New York, New Jersey, we should be getting Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. That's the match I wanted to see even more than Nakamura and Styles. Never thought it was possible because I didn't think WWE was going to actually clear Daniel Bryan, but now not only are we getting Nakamura Styles this year, we could get Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles next year. This next question, two different people asked this actually. Don't know if they're the same person or actually just two different people, but it was almost worded the same. Monster Sports and Sam both asked, who do you think would be best for Paul Heyman after Brock leaves? Personally, I'd love it to be Samoa Joe. Well, Monster Sports and Sam, I don't think Samoa Joe needs Paul Heyman. That's the thing. Samoa Joe, not only he keeps getting better and better on that microphone. Before he got injured, Samoa Joe was cutting some of the best promos in the company. He was showing why he's a dominant heel and just a dominant badass in the company. On the microphone, Samoa Joe was believable. And you could tell they weren't just scripting his every line. They were giving him some bullet points. But they were letting Samoa Joe go out there and be Samoa Joe. Paul Heyman is at best when he's a mouthpiece, not just a manager. And Samoa Joe, the one thing he doesn't need is a mouthpiece. So as much as it would be cool to look at them visually together, Paul Heyman wouldn't do justice to Samoa Joe. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking Ronda Rousey. That's a different question for later in Q&A in a few minutes. Because that's a little bit of a longer question, and that answer might take me a few minutes. But not so fast on Paul Heyman and Ronda Rousey. As far as who I think would be best for Paul Heyman, short and sweet. I've already said this actually, I believe it was last week's Q&A or 2 weeks ago, one of the two. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has to turn fucking heel. When he wins the championship this year's WrestleMania in New Orleans, I don't know what Vince is expecting. The crowd is not going to be like, whoa, Roman won the title. Yes, let's all jump on the Roman bandwagon now. No, he's still not going to be a complete face. You're still going to have half the crowd, if not more, booing this motherfucker in displeasure. So let's turn him full throttle heel at WrestleMania, right? I honestly think Brock will get more cheers than Roman at a lot of the parts of that fucking WrestleMania. Why not have, if Brock's leaving anyway, why not have Paul Heyman turn on Brock and join forces with Roman Reigns? I'll tell you one thing, if that's supposed to make Roman Reigns a full-fledged heel, that could get Vince McMahon everything he ever wanted in the last 4 years with Roman. That could get everyone cheering Roman Reigns. He finally did what we asked for 4 years. And we already love Paul Heyman. So maybe the one thing that Vince McMahon didn't do to get Roman over, maybe he does it at WrestleMania to get him over. Paul Heyman joins forces with Roman Reigns to make him a complete heel, and that will finally get Roman complete cheers. So it may have the adverse effect, and Vince might get what he wanted all along. Either way, we're going to be happy. Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is still kind of insecure and not real confident on the microphone. After all these years, he's still not really confident on that microphone. He has little gems here and there where he cuts a good promo, but he's still shaky on that son of a bitch. And everyone's like, oh, Ronda Rousey's horrible on the mic. Well, guess what? How about you focus on Roman Reigns right now? This guy's been there for years and still shaky. Roman Reigns could use a mouthpiece like Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns could use a switch in character and not just this shaky babyface. Let's turn him full throttle heel, which, again, may just get him all the cheers Vince wants. It's a win-win for everybody. I see Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns. That's the only person I want to see him with. Let's go to Ryan. This is also on Twitter. Do you like the storyline of Braun and Alexa from the Mixed Match Challenge? No. Short and sweet. No, I don't. Yes, it's fun and it's cute. You got the Beauty and the Beast. We've seen it so many times. Kane's done it a million times in his career. Beauty and the Beast. We get it. Braun and Alexa. It's a cute little visual, right? Oh, Braun's this big tough guy and Alexa's this little girl. Ooh. Guys, do you honestly think Braun Strowman needs this right now in his career? The way he's been booked this last year as this dominant badass, fighting security and authority and Brock and Roman and everybody else in his way. And now he's going to play a Beauty and the Beast storyline. We're going to get the soft side of Braun Strowman. Oh, isn't that adorable? No, it's not adorable. Anybody but Braun. Come on, man. Braun's the one of the last alpha male men we have left in WWE. Once Brock leaves, come on, man. Let's keep Braun tough, badass, and dominant. It's a cute little mixed match challenge storyline. Okay, I'll give it to you. Keep him off of Raw with Alexa Bliss, please. Let's go to YouTube. The SF Jammer. Do you think WWE should just get rid of 205 Live and just put the division once and for all solely on Raw or SmackDown and not introduce Cruiser Tag Team belts? In my opinion, too much belts. Well, I agree with you. That would be too much belts. As far as 205 Live should not exist. 205 Live in general, as a division on Raw or SmackDown, shouldn't exist. Because WWE doesn't know what to do with 205 Live. So no, I don't give a fuck about 205 Live. I assure you guys, when 205 Live comes on Raw, the superstars, as good as they might be, I check out. I do anything. I go get a fucking snack. I'll take a piss. I'll drive my head through a cement wall. I'll fly off a 5-story building head first. I'll do anything but watch 205 Live. I want nothing to do with 205 Live, Ryan. Honestly. So yes, they should do away with 205 Live and the whole division. Because until you know what to do with them, the direction, how to actually use the superstars, create the storylines, until you know how to do something, you probably shouldn't do something. Over on YouTube as well, Stefan. In a fantasy dream match, who would win between Shawn Michaels versus Sting, both in their prime? This has me thinking there, Stefan. Fuck, of all the dream matches, I really don't know where I would go with this. You're saying in their prime, so this means even before Crow Sting, the baseball bat, fucking Undertaker-ish Sting, toward the end of Sting's WCW career and what we've seen in WWE, that Crow Sting character. His prime is actually more Surfer Sting. That's when he started his career and got into those 90s with those matches against Big Van Vader and Ric Flair. That's when I truly remember Sting at his most dominant, man. He was the main face in WCW. Shawn Michaels was never the main face, guys. That's the issue with Shawn Michaels. He was one of their big ones, but you always had somebody with Shawn. You always had the Bret Harts. You always had the Undertakers. You always had the Steve Austins. So Shawn Michaels never really carried the company by himself. There was a time where Sting was, where Van Vader and Ric Flair and them, they were all just the main heels. Sting was carrying that company as a main face. So if we're talking about in their prime, as much as you guys know I love Shawn Michaels, man, I actually watched WCW back in those 90s. Before WCW was going head-to-head with Raw and everybody started to watch WCW, I was watching those Starcades in those Great American Bash, all those early 90s when Sting was taking on Big Van Vader in the leather strap matches. You guys remember that? Or the very early original War Games? Those are the WCW days I remember, and that's when Sting was at his fucking best in his prime and carrying an entire company. So if you're talking Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid in his prime, and Sting, Surfer Sting, I have to go Surfer Sting. As good as Shawn Michaels was, as great, as epic, as many would say the greatest performer of all time, I would be one of those saying that. I don't know many people that would have beaten Surfer Sting at that time. I'd have to go Sting, guys, if it's in their prime. Brian over on YouTube. Hey, BC, why don't younger fans like Sasha Banks? Good question. I never noticed that. Is that a thing? Do younger fans not like Sasha Banks? I never noticed that, guys. I have no idea. Maybe it's because of the way they're marketed. As far as I can remember, when I think of different eras in pro wrestling for the women, I always think of like those blonde bombshells. And Sasha Banks doesn't really fit that mold, maybe, to Vince McMahon. But when I'm thinking of, like, even before the Attitude Era, guys, when the women's division first came back into its real prime, it was Alundra Blaze. She was this blonde bombshell, but a badass. And even after Alundra Blaze, once you went into, like, the Attitude Era, it was Trish Stratus, this blonde bombshell badass. And even nowadays, two different brands, but both have these blonde bombshells as champion, right? One of them is badass, Charlotte. The other, not so much. She plays the cowardly character, but she's still badass in her own right, Alexa Bliss. Both are blonde bombshells, though. Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, you have Trish Stratus back in the day, you had Alundra Blaze. When I think of different eras, I think of those individuals. Yes, even before Chyna, even before Lita. You think of the first female that comes to mind in different eras. If you talk the era before the Attitude Era, that was Alundra Blaze. She owned the whole division. Trish Stratus would be the first you would think of with the women's division for the Attitude Era. Nowadays, it's obviously your champions, which is Alexa and which is Charlotte. So I don't think Vince ever put really stock into people that weren't his blonde bombshells. Yes, he'll give the championship, he'll give a little bit of time to them, but then it always goes back to who he envisions as a champion, who he knows he can market the best. He threw the strap over at Naomi. That didn't last a long time when I thought she looked great with the championship. And if it's obvious, she can go in the ring. She's one of the best athletically speaking. She's one of the best wrestlers right now over on SmackDown, probably the whole division. And she didn't hold the belt very long either. And it's right back on Charlotte and over on Raw. A lot of people, including myself, say Sasha Banks should have had that championship the better part of the last year. Instead, it was Alexa Bliss. And Alexa only defended it like twice in 7 months. I don't care about live events on TV and pay-per-views twice in 7 months. Why did she even have the championship? Because Vince knew he could market that. Pay-per-views or promotional material. We'll just put Alexa Bliss with the strap. I don't give a fuck about who's marketable and who's not. Sasha Banks is actually very marketable. Her merchandise does overwhelmingly good. And that's not even getting the pushes she deserves by Vince McMahon. Sasha Banks continuously says fuck you to Vince McMahon without actually saying fuck you to Vince McMahon. Sasha Banks says, okay, I'll play your little role. I'll play second fiddle. My merchandise is still going to fucking be top. And people go, oh, well, this week Alexa Bliss's merchandise was better than Sasha's BC. Well, she's the champion. She doesn't have to do anything. She's the champion, and she gets all the main focus. Of course it's bullshit. But I don't know why younger fans, maybe Vince isn't marketing the best way, and we know he's not pushing Sasha Banks the way she should be. But it's hard to when you give somebody a championship 4 times, and collectively she's held it for only 1 month. So, you know, all the little girls and stuff, maybe they're just seeing Alexa Blisses and Charlottes and saying, hey, I want to be like them. I don't know. I'm not a, what was the main question? Hey, BC, why do you think younger fan? Yeah, I mean, I'm not too much of a younger fan, you know. Not old by any stretch of the imagination, but when I think younger, I'm thinking you're talking about like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, right? And if that's the case, I have no idea. It's about how that age range sees the WWE, how it's marketed to that age range. And I don't really see WWE through those eyes, so I don't have a good answer. All I can say is that your 2 champions right now is Alexa and Charlotte. Sasha Banks is nothing like either. Maybe it's the way she's being marketed. I have no fucking idea. I think it's fucking wrong. You guys know how I feel. Sasha should have been champion this whole fucking year. Before Ronda or before Asuka get any championships, Sasha should have had her time in the limelight. And it amazes me to this day. I get some people that are like, BC, she's had it 4 times. She's had main events. She's had her time. Let new people come in. But it's okay for Alexa to hold it 7 fucking months and defend it twice. That's okay. It's okay not to have her let somebody else new have a championship. But somebody having it 4 times for 1 month, collectively, that's having her time? No, motherfucker, she hasn't even began to have her time. Could you imagine if they told Hulk Hogan after his first title reign that lasted more than 6 months, all right, you had your time. New people. Bret Hart, yeah, okay, get out. Shawn Michaels, can you get out of there? Stone Cold, you won your Royal Rumble. Get out. You had your championship. New people, new time to shine. The fuck out of here. Sometimes when you're the best, you're the best. Where the fuck did I leave off? Let's go over to Jason. Still on YouTube, I believe. BC, if Shane can't go at WrestleMania, who does Vince put in there to replace him? Good fucking question. You have Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and there's a good chance Shane McMahon does not fill that spot. So who does it be at that point? I thought the Battle Royal is the best place for Rusev. I don't feel the best place for him is in that United States Championship match. I feel if the last second call was to be made that Shane McMahon couldn't participate, then I would have left Rusev off there too and put Rusev in that tag match. I think Daniel Bryan, who would get the most cheers in New Orleans, mixed with Rusev Day chants, which is going to fill in New Orleans chants as well. That's going to be a huge chant. I think Daniel Bryan and Rusev would have been badass. But they already kind of ruined that. They put Rusev over in that championship match. I think as just a fun, kick-ass dynamic duo for one night only, Hulk Hogan would be badass. Throw in Stone Cold. Throw in Mick Foley. Throw in Shawn Michaels. I know, he's fucking retired. Sting. You know what I mean? You don't have to have ultimate clearance. You don't have to be able to go in the ring for 20 minutes. Go in there, and Daniel Bryan has already shown, his first night being cleared, that he's not going to hold back. He's going full throttle. There was a time where we thought if this match happened, Daniel Bryan was going to have to be the one that's going to hold back and be the one on the apron most of the time. No, now Daniel Bryan's going to be the one doing most of the action. So you could have Hulk Hogan just get in there and hot tagging a couple times during the match. I'm just saying, something fun, somebody fun could show up. I don't see like a Dolph Ziggler or something like that. That wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be intriguing. In fact, I think they're going to go Dolph Ziggler winning that Battle Royal. But I just see somebody fun. If Shane McMahon can't go, let's have a one night only. This isn't the spot to create a new superstar. Let's have somebody fun. They don't have to be able to go in the ring for 20 minutes. But let's bring it, man. I thought Rusev would have been the fucking good replacement. J Football Live over on YouTube. BC, this is about Ronda. I agree that having Ronda Rousey in WWE is so badass, and just the thought of seeing her at WrestleMania gives me goosebumps. But I think they need to stop giving her long-ass promos. I feel like they're not letting her speak from the heart, and therefore she just sounds so robotic. You'd probably disagree. But would you have Paul Heyman, after Brock leaves, as Rousey's advocate and manager? I'm sorry, but I just cringe so much seeing a badass like Ronda fucking Rousey. Seeing a badass like Ronda fucking Rousey speak like a 12-year-old at a candy shop. When, as we can see, when she's angry and speaking from the heart, she sounds amazing. Just want to hear your thoughts on that. Hope you get this on Q&A. Well, J Football Live, it's on Q&A. And listen, I agree with you as far as Ronda Rousey on the microphone is still not where it needs to be, and who knows if it's ever going to be. But I told you guys how Ronda Rousey needs to be used. Not talking a lot. So yes, I agree with you then. She shouldn't have long-ass promos as you described it. She should not. Just like Asuka should not. It's clear Asuka's promos is not her strengths. What do I always tell you guys? Hide the weaknesses and really show off the strengths. With Asuka, they're doing that, but sometimes she has promos that are just too long. Same with Ronda. Ronda Rousey's strength is not promos. But when you get Ronda in there and she just delivers a line or two, they're badass. When she has that mean mugging going and she's looking at somebody like a Stephanie McMahon and say, you want me to leave the ring? Make me. Or looking at Stephanie McMahon or somebody like that and saying, you have 5 seconds to get out of my ring before I snap your arm in half. When she says things like that and she's mean mugging, man, you feel it. As you said, J Football Live, you feel that shit. And it goes from a cringe promo that you can't even really watch to, that was badass, that's realistic, I'm invested, I'm at the edge of my seat. So that's how you use Ronda. So absolutely, short, sweet, to the point. Not long-ass promos, as you call it. But I do not feel Paul Heyman is needed in this scenario. First of all, it just looks awkward, Paul Heyman and Ronda Rousey. I don't think it fits. I don't think it goes. Ronda doesn't need a mouthpiece. Ronda just needs to get straight to the point and let her actions show off what she's trying to display. Her actions are always going to show off what she can do. Not her promos. Her promos will never show off her best assets. It's going to be what she can do in the ring. Getting those arm bars, using her judo skills, just being badass in the ring. Nobody's looking at Ronda Rousey to be a badass on the promo. So having Ronda go out there and Paul Heyman cutting 5-hour Paul Heyman promos for Ronda, I don't need it. A lot of you guys might like it. A lot of you guys might say, I think it fits together, BC. Good for you, and maybe one day it'll happen. For me personally, no. People like Samoa Joe, people like Ronda Rousey, they don't need it, man. Let Paul Heyman get somebody like Brock that can be useful for that individual. Ronda doesn't need it, because that's not the way she should be being booked anyway, out there for 5-minute promos. No matter who's talking for her, Ronda shouldn't be cutting 5-minute promos, whether she's cutting it or somebody for her. Samoa Joe obviously doesn't need it. It should be people like Roman Reigns, man. You really want to build somebody up, put Paul Heyman as their mouthpiece / manager. And by the way, if I really thought about it, guys, I can come up with 10 to 20 more names that Paul Heyman would fit good with. I'm just saying Roman Reigns is the main guy right now who Paul Heyman needs to go with. But in my opinion, it doesn't need to be Ronda Rousey. But I do agree, that's not her strong suit, so she should not be cutting long-ass promos. Straight to the point. Get out of my ring or I'm going to snap your arm. You want me out of your ring? Make me. That's when we believe Ronda at her best. F Zuniga 018. Sorry if I botched it. Just a thought. This is also on YouTube. F Zuniga 018. Just a thought, and would you... How the fuck? I can read. Just a thought. Would you love... Oh, just a thought and would love your input on it. Sorry, guys. It's fucking... I need another coffee. Just a thought and would love your opinion or input on it, we get the dream match, Sasha Bayley. So he's saying, so let's just say we get the dream match of Sasha versus Bayley for the strap. Either one of them wins, doesn't really matter, in one hell of a match, what will be one hell of a match. Then that winner goes on to face Ronda Rousey. Who takes the title in that situation? And then what? Ronda Rousey takes the title. I was never arguing that point where Vince wants to go with this. Nia gets the championship over Alexa. He fulfills his Total Divas storyline at WrestleMania. And then Nia goes over to SummerSlam and loses it to Ronda Rousey. I understand where he's going with it. That's fine if you want Ronda to have the title, have a win streak going into WrestleMania 35 in New York, New Jersey, and face off against Asuka, who also has a championship by then, and also has her winning streak. So it's going to be streak versus streak and title versus title, basically, even though a title isn't going to change hands because it's SmackDown and Raw. So the titles won't be on the line, but you're still going to have champion versus champion, streak versus streak. So I understand where Vince is going, and I think that's badass. My whole argument with this was, why not just have fucking Sasha, who absolutely, I hate saying the word deserves in pro wrestling, because everybody deserves it, according to fans these days. But Sasha absolutely deserved that championship for the last 7 months at least. So why not just go in and have Sasha Banks drop it to Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam? I'm fine with that. Even if Sasha went in there and won it at WrestleMania. But BC, that's only one main pay-per-view to the next. You don't like her holding it for a short amount of time. That's still 5 months. That's 5 months better than nothing. That's an epic Sasha Banks moment at WrestleMania, which she's deserved from the beginning. And she's going to have another high-profile match at SummerSlam. So you have April, May, June, July, August. 5 months of Sasha Banks at the top. That's what, 1 or 2 more Raw pay-per-views in between that Sasha Banks is being marketed and winning high-profile matches at 2 more pay-per-views between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. So Sasha Banks is owning the world at that point between that time frame. And you still, at SummerSlam, have this epic Sasha Banks-Ronda Rousey match. And at the end, if you want Ronda to get the belt, I'm okay with it. But how Sasha Banks doesn't even fit into the fucking equation is what boggles my mind. But BC, visually, Nia Jax works with Ronda. If you think about the promo, BC, Nia Jax is the most realistic. No, she's not! On what fucking planet? I've seen Nia Jax lose against Sasha. I've seen her lose against Bayley, lose against fucking Asuka. I've seen her lose against everybody already. I've seen her at 50-50 booking at best. I've seen her throw a temper tantrum backstage for real. Not want to put over Sasha Banks and leave the company. She never had any momentum, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe she can beat Ronda fucking Rousey? If that's believable and realistic to you, you got another thing coming. You gotta start reassessing WWE and how you view it. If you think Nia Jax is the most realistic. Bullshit! I'm calling bullshit on that. Fuck out of here. I forgot what to even question. Well, yeah, so that's what, I mean, Sasha Bayley, if they were to take on each other for the strap, no matter who wins, they go on to Ronda, I would have Ronda win, absolutely. That's where they want to go with it. I think that's badass. Asuka versus Ronda, streak versus streak, a champion versus a champion. And then you put at the end, and then what happens after Ronda would win the title, say, at SummerSlam, with either Bayley or Sasha? I kind of already answered the and then. Then they go on, Ronda goes on to WrestleMania 35 against Asuka. So that's how I would book that shit. I don't know. I didn't even know how long this video went. I feel like I just been fucking amplified the whole fucking time. So I'm going to end it right there, guys. I hope to have a little surprise video up tomorrow. A little something fun that I would like to get out there. Maybe even cover some news. We'll see this weekend. SummerSlam is... Yup, we need a coffee. SummerSlam is upon us. Whatever happened to WrestleMania? That just went, that came and gone, right? WrestleMania is upon us, man. This Monday, the final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania, the go-home show, and then the night after, the final SmackDown before WrestleMania 34. So I expect 2 of the biggest shows of the year in just a few days. We're going to rock it out. Thank you guys for joining me for Amplified Q&A, my favorite video of the week, where I get to answer some of your guys' questions, interact with you guys a little bit. I'm going to get that much-needed coffee. I'm going to stay amplified, And that sucks for everyone out there on the streets today, out there in the world, out there in New York motherfucking city, cause I'm gonna rock that motherfucker to its very foundation. I'm gonna burn that son of a bitch to the ground, and I'm gonna rock every motherfucker I come across. We getting amplified, and the amplified man is cashing the fuck out. B motherfucking C, I'll check you the fuck later.